I'm at Beaver Hill Cemetery today, our pet cemetery here on the farm. And I'm taking a breather here. This is North Carolina grounds, and it's really hard to dig a grave. As the Good Shepherd Natalie, I don't consider digging a grave to be a chore or even a job. It's actually a very sacred act of respect and further, acknowledging the life of any life. I'll be burying Lady Sue here today. I collect what I refer to as Jesus rocks from all around our creek, and I line all of the, graves. There's no horses out here. We don't have any horses. This is all pretty much chickens, baby chicks, a fox carcass, a Luna moth. I don't know, a few other things. So, big journey with Lady Sue. Big journey. I love coming out to Beaver Hill because as the Good Shepherd, I love my flock, and yet I need a little break from them too. So when we think about the metaphor of life being on the other side of the fence, even the Good Shepherd needs to be on the other side of the fence at times from her own flock. I'm still processing. I'm in a state of AWE, and I live in a state of AWE like every day of my life for the past many years since meeting Jesus, January 28th, 2022. And that's really when my personal life really got catapulted itself into a whole other realm of being. And it's a beautiful life. I am in awe of the love from across the world via social media, which is across the world. The love for a chicken named Lady Sue. The word that just kept popping up on so many people's responses was, we're invested. We're invested in Lady Sue. What's going on? Is she alive? How is she? Lots of questions. Take her to the vet, take her to the vet. And so this morning, after I posted the video that Lady Sue had passed away and is now an angel chicken who can fly. I don't know if people know this, but chickens can't fly. They could maybe fly a little bit, and they can fly up into a tree, but they can't fly like birds. And yet I always smile because once they go to heaven, yes, they can. And that moment of me that day doing Reiki on her, where I actually spread her wings open, that was a really moving moment for me to see while I video, which is a reason why I video most everything I do, because I am a person who doesn't really see. I'm a person who feels more so than sees. And when I happened to look into the camera at that moment, spreading her wings, it was like I immediately felt connected to everything at that point, to heaven and to her. And I thought, wow, this is a special bird, really special bird to have touched so many people's lives. And how beautiful for me as the Good Shepherd to be a part of being my hen's words, to share with the world her purpose. She was a battery hen. We rescued 12 battery hens from a hen house in April of 2025, and we weren't guaranteed they would live a day, a week, or a few months, or, the damage is already done to battery hens. And this will begin to answer some of the questions that people had. Why didn't I call a vet? Well, there's many reasons. I'm actually quite close with our local veterinarian, and her name is Dr. Tyser. And she has reached out to me in the past when persons have come in thinking that their hen was egg bound. And that was a really special journey for me as the Good Shepherd to be included alongside an actual veterinarian doctor. And it was really amazing to have a veterinarian and a Good Shepherd, the medical aspect and the shepherd aspect. And what we exchanged as two people who are passionate about animal health and care, that's when I began using the word. I'm the palliative care Dr. Ticer. You're the doctor. And the palliative care, you know, at that point really took off for me in ways that I began to learn. Chickens, most people don't take them to the vet, number one. Number two, usually when an issue occurs with a chicken on a farm, or really any livestock animal, it's not all about chickens. We're not going to have the help when we need it. This is why, if you've ever watched shows like Dr. Pol or any other veterinary shows like that, whenever the farm vets in particular come out, you know, that's you're the shepherd's time to ask as many questions as you can. What did you just do there? How did you do that? Oh, I see how you grabbed my sheep. Ooh, I never thought of it that way. And these are all ways of continuing to learn as the shepherd, because we need to know. There's been times, the one time my sheep, they ate azaleas, and I knew that was toxic. I didn't have the charcoal at that time, so I immediately put, you know, the hydrogen peroxide in, and baking soda, and, you know, called the farm vets, and they were like, we can't be there for like 3 hours, you know. When they got out here, they were like, you saved his life. I said, what? They said, had you not done that, and we couldn't get here, we were at another emergency. Veterinarians are humans also. And so, you know, this has been part of this journey with Lady Sue, where I've continued to share on all my videos that it's not about the Good Shepherd trying to be a veterinarian. I've made no claims of having any medical knowledge, because I don't. And this is part of the reason I never even had an interest to become a veterinarian, even though I was told to become one since I was like 6 years old. I never could get the science aspect of it. I'm more of the empath, the palliative care, which again is why it was so beautiful to work with Dr. Ticer, a veterinarian. With Lady Sue, the damage was done in her first 12 to 18 months of her life being a battery hen. Battery hens are raised to lay eggs, mass production, to be sold across our country's grocery stores. They live in horrific conditions. Cages, ceiling to floor, wall to wall, 80 birds in a cage, they're crammed in. Their beaks are all cut so that they don't kill each other. They're put into moments of darkness for days to put them in a down low, and they're pumped full of injectable, you know, and other by feed as well, hormones. And then the lights are turned back on, the faux vitamin D lights, and then those lights stay on for, you know, many more days at a time, so no darkness at all. And if anybody knows chickens, chickens can't see in the dark, and I mean, they take themselves to bed every night, so when they go to sleep, they go to sleep, which is why they're such easy prey to such things as foxes and raccoons at night, because they can't see. The chickens can't see. Literally, they're blind in dark. The damage was done. What happens a lot, and this is why we were told, hey, these birds you're paying $30 each for today, they might not even live through tomorrow. Well, we brought 12 ladies home, and we lost our first lady 2 or 3 months ago, and Lady Sue is our second. And I said with my first hen, these 12 ladies are so bonded, given their life as battery hens, that when one goes, I have a feeling they're all going to start to trickle off. But not only that, not because of an emotional aspect of these 12 sister hens, but also because they had the same life and they were all pumped full of the same hormones and stuff, and so it makes sense that they're going to start dropping like flies. These birds are all happy. They've never had any problems. These are not my egg-bound hens usually, my battery hen ladies. They've had no problems. In fact, I named them all Lady because they all looked the same. And it's only been when they come to present to me needing help that I'm like, what should I name you, Lady? You know, so Sue didn't even have a name other than Lady until I brought her in. I knew immediately, even before I posted the video that got a lot of response, that I was being welcomed aboard. I, as the Good Shepherd, was being welcomed aboard to be a passenger, a voice, to share a very important message from heaven through a precious life of a hen to the world. This was my hen's purpose. And sounds crazy? I think there's a whole lot of other things in this life that can beyond sound crazy. Heaven is real. Heaven on earth is real. And this is where my 12 battery hens have been blessed to have been born and lived in hell. They had no idea they were going to be shipped off for slaughter to be used in pet food. And yet they definitely knew where they landed here on our farm in April of 2025 was and is heaven on earth. I've actually smiled and joked about it, saying that this is their little layover. You know, here's their little preempt of heaven. And the truth is, that's what heaven wants for all of us in life, humans and animals, is to know heaven on earth. Too many of us live this life, our lives, fearing death, thinking we need to do all of this before we die and everything. Heaven's like, just please settle down, simmer down. Like, would you just stop and smell the roses and start redefining all of those cliches and metaphors of life? I did not take Lady Sue to the vet because what would have been done would have been x-rays, blood work possibly. I think she died from cancer. And that makes sense. It happens to them all the time. And so it has nothing to do on my end about money. I'll spend whatever money I need on any of my animals. And yet I talk to Dr. Tyser all the time. I've learned from her. She's learned from me. And it's not that I knew what I was doing. It's that I did know what I was doing. And yet if you remember that first video where I'm going into her vent, I go, oh my God, she's bleeding. Oh my God, I've never seen this before. You know, I look back at that video and I'm in awe of that level of calmness that just came over me. That's something I've had to learn in my lifetime. I've been a wide open person my whole life, you know, just, you know, woo! And I've learned from my animals how to be a more balanced person, to be able to align my own mind, body, and soul. Too many of us in life live by mind and body. Most of us don't even really know what our soul is. I didn't know what my soul was. For me, it was when I met Jesus. When I first went in to her vent, I thought I felt an egg. The blood came out, the hemorrhaging, it stopped. The next time I went into her vent, I didn't feel an egg at all. I knew it hadn't ruptured. I believe what happened is, before I even put my finger in her vent, there was a mass right there at her vent area. It had already begun. It was already starting to protrude from her vent. You know, I was like, what is this crusty stuff? I thought it was poop. No, it was blood. So it had already, the mass itself, ruptured. That's why she came to me. There was nothing anybody could have done at that point. And yet, heaven has different plans for all of life. And I didn't even think of it as there's nothing else I can do. I took this as an opportunity to dive right in and do what I could do. It was a fascinating journey for me to learn more about hen health. I'd never dealt with a mass before, and that's what happened. She never had an egg. It was a mass. The next thing that happened was the following day, she had water belly. Water belly is a condition that occurs when there's an underlying internal issue, which is usually organ failure, cancer, tumors. So the water belly was as the Good Shepherd, and with all my knowledge of working with chickens over the past many years, that was my indication that, okay, this is what we're dealing with. She is dying. The day before she died, you know, that's when I finally was like, okay, I didn't want to use the word miracle at all here. And yet I felt it was a miracle the day before she died. Also with the awareness that all life, including humans, at times before we die, we do kind of bounce back and we have these like little woo, like, yeah, you know, because we're somewhere between here and there. And in all the videos I shared of Lady Sue, that's what I was sharing as well, was I always looked to her eyes. I'm very big about the eyes. The eyes are the portal to our soul. And I could see in her eyes when she was totally present and when she was somewhere between here and somewhere else. That day that she came back to life, her eyes were so aware, and that was her moment of thanking me. Not just for helping her then, but thanking me for her life. In giving her a name, Sue, I couldn't believe when I named her Sue. Her name was Lady, until that first day. And when I called her Lady Sue, she responded to Sue as if she had that name all along. There was nothing that could have been done to save Lady Sue by a shepherd or a veterinarian. And I mean, with battery hens, literally, like I said, I can't repeat it enough. The damage was done with the injectable hormones and the conditions that they lived in. Chickens can usually live, you know, anywhere from 8 to 10 to 12 years. And yet the battery hens, yeah, you're told they might not live a day. So, you know, you're not going to see a battery hen live to be even really 5 years old, probably. And these girls are all about 3 years old now. So they've had their little time here in heaven on earth. And I'm grateful to have them. And when I'm ready to rescue some more birds, I'm definitely going to get more battery hens, because they're the happiest birds. They're the happiest, most joyful birds who sing along with me every day. They always want to be in my company. And they love when I sing. Nobody loves when I sing, except for me and my flock. Oh, look at the ladies here, Janet and Chrissy having dirt baths. Good girls. I'm trying to think of the other questions. This is the life of anybody who lives on a farm, not just Natalie the Good Shepherd. There's, you know, when you share your life with a lot of animals, well, that's a lot of life, so you're going to have more death, because that's the science of it, the ratio, the statistics, and the way life works. Palliative care is a beautiful means. And the palliative care was all the things I use on all my birds. The Vet RX, the Rooster Booster products of electrolytes and the vitamin B12. Having on hand, you know, the Preparation H and the Monostat 7. And, I mean, the list goes on and on of very simple things. Molasses, yogurt to have on hand. Lady Sue fulfilled her purpose, and heaven, I knew, when I went to bed last night, was going to call her home. I knew? No. I can't even know. I knew what I felt. And I actually almost said to Lady Sue, as I got her all tucked in I had a humidifier on with the Vet RX in it, you know, trying to help. I heard crackling in her lungs. It had reached her lungs, and that's what happens when you have organ failure. You know, so all those days her organs were shutting down. And then ultimately, that's with all life, it ends in the lungs. I knew when I heard the crackling. That humidifier was not a means, nothing I did was a means of trying to save her life. Everything I was doing was a means of offering her comfort, love, love. And I do feel honored to have been aboard as a passenger in this special hen's journey of sharing with the world beyond the notions, sharing with the world the importance of love and hope. That word, invested, those were my indicators after I saw it thousands of times. Invested, 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 invested. That was how heaven was allowing me, as the Good Shepherd, who is a messenger in life as well. This is part of this hen's journey, and this is what we wanted, Natalie. It was bravo, good job, Lady Sue. Not bravo, good job, Natalie. I was a passenger. None of this was about me. I don't know if that's kind of hard to explain. And again, I'm still processing it all. Anyway, thank you everybody, and thank you for the love. And when I went back and looked at my profile and I hit on most popular, I was surprised to see how many of my videos had massive viewings, and it was all my hens, either egg-bound or sour crop. My one viral video that had nearly 50 million views of my 42 seconds long, my hen flow with sour crop vomiting. I was wearing a fur coat and I was saying, you got this, you know? I'd never seen sour crop before. And now I know how to treat sour crop since flow. And I've been able to share that with the world, utilizing my platform of social media to share with other people with chickens, because that's how I learned too, watching videos. I got to get back out there. To me, it's not a job, and yet to me, the Good Shepherd Natalie, it's also something that's very important to let's lay her to rest now. Not put her in the freezer and wait, you know, until a cooler day comes. Beaver Hill is a very special place. This is my work table area behind the barn, and I love that, you know, this is where it's the west side of the farm. It's where the sun sets. We got Sasquatch up there also. It's where I've seen the rare white albino deer that visited me for 21 days in a row. Many beautiful, beautiful life. Thank you to all of those who really felt love and hope. Heaven thanks you.